Father, we just come before you and we just continue to thank you and bless you for gathering us all across the four corners, coming back to your truth, Father, allowing us to assemble here in the physical, those that are here also online and being a part of this, wherever they are, Father. We just thank you for allowing us to gather together to love you through your Son, Messiah, Yahusha, and just our total reverence for you, Father. And we know that none of these things can be done but through the blood of Messiah, Yahusha, to whom we love, believe in, and preach into the world. May your Ruach HaKodesh be here with us in this tent and anywhere anyone is. And may these words that you spoke to the prophet Ezra pierce our hearts and help us to bring forth the fruit that you desire. In Yahusha's mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen. Okay, so we are in chapter 9 of 2 Esdras, and we're going to have some volunteers to read. We're going to read 2 chapters apiece. Sister, you're going to sing one for us, so thank you for that. And here we go. 2 Esdras, chapter 9. He answered me then and said, measure you the time diligently itself, and when you see part of the signs past, which I have told you before, then shall you understand that it is the very same time wherein El Elyon will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then you well understand that El Elyon spoke of these things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of El Elyon have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by his faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my Yeshua, my salvation, in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they shall have cast them away despitefully, shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits, and have not known me. And they that have loathed my Torah, while they had yet liberty, and when, as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be not curious how the wicked shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. Then I answered and said, I have said before, and do now speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there may be more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved, like as if a wave is greater than a drop. And he answered me, saying, like as the field is, so also is the seed. As the flowers be, such are as the colors are also. Such as the workman is, such also is the work. And as the husbandman is himself, so is his husbandry also. For it was the time of the world, and now when I prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in, that now live, no man spoke against me. For then everyone obeyed, but now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, and by a Torah which is unsearchable rid themselves. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant of a great people. Let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant for with which great labor have I made it perfect. Nevertheless, if you will seize yet 7 days more, but you shall not fast in them, but go into a field of flowers, where no house is built, and eat only the flowers of the field. Taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only, and pray unto El Elyon continually. Then will I come and talk with you. So I went my way to the field which is called Ardath, like as he commanded me. And there I sat among the flowers, and did eat of the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me. After 7 days I sat upon the grass, and my heart was vexed within me, like as before. And I opened my mouth, and began to talk before El Elyon, and said, O Yahweh, you that show yourself unto us, you were showed unto our fathers in the wilderness, in a place where no man treads, in a barren place, where they came out of Mitzrayim. And you spoke, saying, hear me, O Yashrael, and mark my words, you seed of Yaakov. For behold, I sow my Torah in you, and it shall bring forth fruit in you, and ye shall be honored in it forever. But our fathers, which received the Torah, kept it not, and observed not your ordinances. And though the fruit of your Torah did not perish, neither could it, for it was yours. Yet they that received it perished, because they kept not the thing that was sown in them. And lo, it is a custom, when the ground has received seed, or the sea a ship, or any vessel meat or drink, that being perished wherein it was sown or cast into, that thing also which was sown or cast therein or received perishes, and remains not with us. But with us it has not happened so. For we that have received the Torah perish by sin, and our heart also which received it, notwithstanding the Torah perishes not, but remains in his force. And when I spoke these things in my heart, I looked back with my eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman, and behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice, and was much grieved in her heart, and her clothes were rent, and she had ashes upon her head. Then let I my thoughts go that I was in, and turned me unto her, and said unto her, Wherefore do you weep? Why are you so grieved in your mind? And she said unto me, Sir, let me alone, that I may bewail myself and add unto my sorrow. For I am sore vexed in my mind, and brought very low. And I said unto her, What ails you? Tell me. She said unto me, Your servant have been barren, and had no child, though I had a man 30 years. And those 30 years I did nothing else day and night, and every hour, but make my prayer to El Elyon. After 30 years Elohim heard me, your handmaid, looked upon my misery, considered my trouble, and gave me a son. And I was very glad of him. So was my man also, and all my neighbors. And we gave great honor unto El Shaddai. And I nourished him with great travail. So when he grew up and came to the time that he should have a woman, I made a feast. Chapter 10. And so it came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. Then we all overthrew the lights, and all my neighbors rose up to comfort me. So I took my rest unto the second day at night. And it came to pass, when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end that I might be quiet, then I rose up by the night and fled, and came hither into this field, as you see. And I do now purpose not to return into the city, but to stay, and neither to eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and fast until I die. Then I left the meditations where I was, and spoke to her in anger, saying, You foolish woman above all other, see you not our mourning and what happened unto us? How that Zion our mother is full of all heaviness, and much humbled, mourning very sore. And now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness, and you are grieved for one son? For ask the earth, and she will tell you, that it is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grow upon her. For out of her came all at the first, and out of her shall all others come. And behold, they walk almost all into destruction, and a multitude of them is utterly rooted out. Who then shall make more the mourning than she, that has lost so great a multitude, and not you, which are sorry but for one? But if you say unto me, My lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and bore with sorrows, but the earth not so. For the multitude present in it, according to the course of the earth, is gone, as it came. Then I say unto you, like as you have brought forth with labor, even so the earth has also given her fruit, namely, man, ever since the beginning unto him that made her. Now therefore, keep your sorrow to yourself, and bear with good courage that which has befallen you. For if you shall acknowledge the determination of Elohim to be just, you shall both receive your son in time, and shall be commended among women. Go your way then into the city and to your man. And she said unto me, That I will not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die. So I proceeded to speak further unto her, and said, Do not so, but be counseled by me. For how many are the adversities of Zion? Be comforted in regard to the sorrow of Jerusalem. For you see that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed, our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end, the light of our menorah is put out, the ark of the covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon is almost profaned. Our children are put to shame, our priests are burnt, our Leviim are gone into captivity, our virgins defiled, and our women ravished. Our righteous men carried away, our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought into bondage, and our strong men are become weak. And, which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion has now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us. And therefore, shake off your great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that El may be merciful unto you again, and El Elyon shall give you rest and ease from your labor. And it came to pass, while I was talking to her, behold, her face upon a sudden shined exceedingly, and her countenance glistened, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be. And behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman. And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more. But there was a city built, and a large place showed itself from the foundations. Then was I afraid, and I cried with a loud voice, and I said, Where is Uriel, the angel who came to me at the first? For he has caused me to fall into many trances, and my end is turned into corruption, and my prayer to rebuke. And as I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me, and looked upon me, and lo, I lay as one that had been dead, and my understanding was taken from me. And he took me by the right hand, and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said, What ails you? And why are you so disquieted? And why is your understanding troubled, and the thoughts of your heart? And I said, Because you have forsaken me, and yet I did according to your words, and I went into the field, and lo, I have seen, and yet see that I am not able to express. And he said unto me, Stand up manfully, and I will advise you. Then I said, Speak on, my Adonai, in me, only forsake me not, lest I die, frustrate of my hope. For I have seen that I knew not, and hear that I do not know. Or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream? Now therefore I beseech you, that you will show your servant on this vision. He answered me then, and he said, Hear me, I shall inform you, and tell you wherefore you are afraid. For El Elyon will reveal many secret things unto you. He has seen that your way is right, and that you sorrow continually for your people, and make great lamentation for Zion. This therefore is the meaning of the vision which you lately saw. You saw a woman mourning, and you began to comfort her. But now you see the likeness of a woman no more. But there appeared unto you a city built, and whereas she told you of the death of her son, this is the solution. This woman who you saw is Zion. And whereas she said unto you, even she whom you see as a city built, whereas I say, she said unto you that she has been 30 years barren, those are 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, Shalomah built the city and offered offerings, and then bore the barren a son. And whereas she told you that she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling in Jerusalem. But whereas she said unto you that my son coming into his marriage chamber has happened to have fallen and died, this was the destruction that came to Jerusalem. And behold, you saw her likeness. And because she mourned for her son, you began to comfort her. And of these things which have chanced, these are already opened unto you. For now El Elyon sees that you are grieved unfeignedly, and suffer from your whole heart for her. So has he showed you the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty. And therefore I bade you remain in the field where no house was built. For I knew that El Elyon would show this unto you. Therefore I commanded you to go into the field where no foundation of any building was. For in the place where an El Elyon begins to show his city, there can no man's building be able to stand. And therefore fear not, let not your heart be frightened, but go your way in, and see the beauty and greatness of the building, as much as your eyes be able to see. And then shall you hear as much as your ears may comprehend. For you are blessed above many others, and are called with El Elyon, and so are but few. But tomorrow at night you shall remain here, and so shall El Elyon show you visions of the high things, which El Elyon will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I slept that night in another, like as he commanded me.
chapter 11. Then I saw a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her, and were gathered together. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers, and small. But her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet it rested with the remnant. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and rained upon the earth, and over them that dwell therein. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spoke against her. No, not one creature upon the earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose upon her talons, and spoke to her feathers, saying, Watch not all at once, sleep everyone in his own place, and watch by course, but let the heads be preserved for the last. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. And I numbered her contrary feathers. Behold, there were 8 of them. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there rose 1 feather, and reigned over all the earth. And so it was that when it rained, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood up and reigned, and had a great time. And it happened that when it rained, the end of it came also, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. And then came there a voice unto it, and said, Hear you that have borne rule over the earth so long, this I say unto you, before you begin to appear no more, there shall none after you attain unto your time, neither unto the half thereof. Then arose the third, and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So went it with all the remnant, one after another, as that everyone reigned, and then appeared no more. Then I beheld, and lo, in the process of time, the feathers that followed stood up upon the right side, that they might rule also. And some of them ruled, but within a while they appeared no more. For some of them were set up, but ruled not. After this I looked, and behold, the 12 feathers appeared no more, nor the 2 little feathers. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested, and 6 little wings. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head that was upon the right side. For the 4 continued in their place. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set themselves up, and to have the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was 1 set up, but shortly it appeared no more. And the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they so thought, behold, there awakened one of the heads that were at rest, namely, it was in the midst. For that was greater than the other 2 heads. And then I saw that the 2 other heads were joined with it. And behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. But this head put the whole earth in fear, and bore rule in it over all those that dwelt upon the earth with much oppression. And it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been. And after this I beheld, and lo, the head that was in the midst suddenly appeared no more, like as the wings. But there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side devoured it that was upon the left side. Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before you, and consider the thing that you see. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Here, I will talk with you, and El Elyon shall say unto you, Are you not it that remain of the 4 living creatures, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the 4th came, and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth have you not judged with truth, for you have afflicted the meek, you have hurt the peaceful, you have loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them. that brought forth fruit, and have cast down the walls of such as did you no harm. Therefore is your wrongful dealing come up to El Elyon, and your pride unto El. El Elyon also has looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Therefore, appear no more, you eagle, nor your horrible wings, nor your wicked feathers, nor your malicious heads, nor your hurtful claws, nor all your vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from your violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and the mercy of him that made her. Chapter 12. And it came to pass, while the lion spoke these words unto the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained and the 4 wings appeared no more, and the 2 went unto it, and set themselves up to reign. And their kingdom was small, and full of uproar. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more. And the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then I awakened out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my Ruach, Lo, this have you done unto me, in that you search out the ways of El Elyon. Lo, yet am I weary in mind, and very weak in my Ruach, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night. Therefore will I now beseech El Elyon, that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Yahuwah Adonai, if I have found grace before your sight, and if I am justified with you before many others, and if my prayer indeed come up before your face, comfort me. Show me, your servant, the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that you may perfectly comfort my soul. For you have judged me worthy to show me the last times. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom you saw come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of your brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare unto you, behold, the days will come, that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kingdoms reign, one after the other. Wherefore the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which you saw. As for the voice which you heard speak, and that you saw not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. That after the time of the kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. And whereas you saw the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation, that in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose times shall be but small, and their years swift. And 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end beginning to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. And whereas you saw 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In the last days shall El Elyon raise up 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth, and of those that dwell therein, with much oppression above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. For these are they that accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas you saw that the great head appeared no more, it signifies that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas you saw 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifies that these are they whom El Elyon has kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom, and full of trouble, as you saw. And the lion whom you saw rising up out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking unto the eagle, rebuking her for her unrighteousness, with all the words which you have heard, this is the anointed which El Elyon has kept for them, and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them, and shall upbraid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been pressed upon my borders, and he shall make them joyful. until the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto you from the beginning. This is the dream that you saw, and these are the interpretations. You only have been meet to know this secret of El Elyon. Therefore, write all these things which you have seen and suffer, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts you know may comprehend these secrets. But wait here yourself yet 7 days more, that it may be showed to you whatsoever it pleases El Elyon to declare unto you. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I did not come again into the city, they gathered them all together, from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me and said, What have we offended you? And what evil have we done against you, that you forsake us and sit here in this place? For of all the prophets, you only are left as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in the dark place, and as a haven or ship preserved from the tempest. Are not the evils which are come to us sufficient? If you shall forsake us, how much better had it been for us if we also had been burned in the midst of Zion? For we are not better than they that died there. And they wept with a loud voice. Then I answered them and said, Be of good comfort, O Yasharel, and be not heavy, you house of Yaakov. For El Elyon has you in remembrance, and El has not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come to this place to pray for the desolation of Zion, and that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. Now go your way home, every man, and after these days I will come back to you. And so the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs.
Chapter 13. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that a man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth fails when it feels the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number, from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet dared fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awakened and said, You have showed your servant these wonders from the beginning, and have counted me worthy that you should receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. For as I conceive in my understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet is it easier for him that is in danger to come into these things, than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision shall I show you, and I will open unto you the thing that you have required. Whereas you have spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time has kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith towards El Shaddai. Know this, therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas you saw a man coming up from the midst of the sea, the same as he who El Elyon has kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas you saw that out of his mouth there came as a blast of the wind, and fire, and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when El Elyon will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed you before. And then shall my Son be declared, whom you saw as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and built, like as you saw the hill graven without hands. And this my Son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before from them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the Torah, which is like unto me. And whereas you saw that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hushai the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Ashur, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there guard their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Parath by the narrow places of the river. For El Elyon then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arzareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, El Elyon shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore saw you the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of your people are they that are found within my borders. Now when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. And then shall he show them great wonders. Then said I, O Yahweh Adonai, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? And he said unto me, like as you can neither seek out nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon earth see my Son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime. This is the interpretation of the dream which you saw, and whereby you only are here lightened. For you have forsaken your own way, and applied your diligence unto my Torah, and sought it. Your life have you ordered in wisdom, and have called understanding your mother. And therefore have I showed you the treasures of El Elyon. After another 3 days I will speak other things unto you, and declare unto you mighty and wondrous things. Then went I forth into the field, giving praise and thanks greatly unto El Elyon, because of his wonders which he did in time, and because he governs the same, and such things as fall in their seasons. And there I sat 3 days. Chapter 14. And it came to pass upon the 3rd day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush over against me, and said, Ezra, Ezra. And I said, Here am I, Yahweh. And I stood up upon my feet. Then said he unto me, In the thorn bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moshe, and talked with him, when my people served in Mitzrayim. And I sent him and led my people out of Mitzrayim, and brought him up to the mountain where I held him by me a long season, and told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shall you declare, and these shall you hide. And now I say unto you, that you lay up in your heart the signs that I have showed, and the dreams that you have seen, and the interpretations which you have heard. For you shall be taken away from all, and from henceforth you shall remain with my Son, and with such as be like you, until the times be ended. For the world has lost its youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half a tenth part. And there remains that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now therefore set your house in order, and reprove your people, comfort such of them that be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from you mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto you, and haste you to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which you have seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. For the time is fled far away, and falsehood is hard at hand. For now hasten the vision to come, which you have seen. Then answered I before you and said, Behold, Yahweh, I will go as you have commanded me, and reprove the people which are present. But they that shall be born afterward, who shall admonish them? Thus the world is set in darkness, and they that dwell therein are without light. For your Torah is burnt, therefore no man knows the things that are done of you, or the work that shall begin. But if I have found grace before you, send the Ruach HaKodesh unto me, and I shall write all that has been done in the world since the beginning, which were written in your Torah, that men may find your path, and that they which will live in the latter days may live. And he answered me, saying, Go your way, gather the people together, and say unto them, that they seek you not for 40 days. But look, prepare you many box trees, and take with you Sariah, Dabria, Shalom-Yahu, Athan, and Asiel, these 5 which are ready to write swiftly. And come hither, and I shall light a candle of understanding in your heart, which shall not be put out, till the things be performed which you shall begin to write. And when you have done, some things shall you publish, and some things shall you show secretly to the wise. Tomorrow this hour shall you begin to write. Then went I forth, as he commanded, and gathered all the people together, and said, Hear these words, O Yasharel. Our fathers at the beginning were strangers in Mitzrayim, from whence they were delivered, and received the Torah of life, which they kept not, which ye also have transgressed after them. Then was the land, even the land of Zion, parted among you by lot. But your fathers and ye yourselves have done unrighteousness, and have not kept the ways which El-Elyon commanded you. And for as much as he is a righteous judge, he took from you in time the thing that he had given you. And now are ye here, and your brethren among you. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding, and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death we shall obtain mercy. For after death shall the judgment come, and when we shall live again, and the names of the righteous shall be manifest, and the works of the wicked shall be declared. Let no man therefore come unto me now, nor seek after me these 40 days. So I took the 5 men as he commanded me, and we went into the field and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Ezra, open your mouth, and drink that I give you to drink. Then opened I my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as it were with water, but the color of it was like fire. And I took it and drank, and when I had drunk of it, my heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast, for my ruach strengthened my memory. And my mouth was opened and shut no more. El-Elyon gave understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that they were told, which they knew not, and they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread. As for me, I spoke in the day, and I held not my tongue by night. In 40 days they wrote 92 Sepharim, and it came to pass, when the 40 days were filled, that El-Elyon spoke, saying, The first that you have written publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it. But keep the 70 last, that you may deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountain of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so.
Chapter 15. Behold, speak in the ears of my people the words of the prophecy which I will put in your mouth, says Yahuwah. and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear the imaginations against you. Let not the incredulity of them trouble you that speak against you. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, says Yahuwah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. The wickedness has exceedingly polluted the world, the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, says Yahuwah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cries unto me, and the soul of the just complain continually. And therefore, says Yahuwah, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Mitzrayim, but I will bring them with a mighty hand, and stretch out an arm, and smite Mitzrayim with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Mitzrayim shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Elohim shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world, and them that dwell therein. For the sword of their destruction draws nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there shall be a sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go to a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall not have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Behold, says Elohim, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanon, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and has consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and guard not my commandments, says Yahuwah. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For Yahuwah knows all them that sin against him, and therefore delivers he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for Elohim shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, whereas the nations of the dragons of Arab shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, ragging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of that land of Asher. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of Asher shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them. And in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and scorn. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and dung of men unto the camel's hell. And there shall be fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south, and from the north, and another part from the west, and strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the stars stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed. The great and mighty cloud shall be puffed up full of wrath, and the star that they might make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star, fire and hail and flying swords, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the woods and grass of the meadows, and their grain, and they shall go steadfast unto Babel, and make her afraid. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. And you, Asia, that are the partaker of the hope of Babel, and are the glory of her person, woe be unto you, you wreck, because you have made yourselves like unto her, and have decked your daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in your lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with you. You have followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore says Elohim, I will send plagues upon you, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste your houses and with destruction and death. And the glory of your power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over you. You shall be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive you. Would I with jealousy have so proceeded against you, says Yahuwah? If you had not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of your hands, and saying over their dead when you were drunken, set forth the beauty of your countenance, and reward of the whoredom shall be in your bosom. Therefore you shall receive recompense. Like as you have done unto my chosen, says Yahuwah, even so shall Elohim do unto you, and shall deliver you into mischief. Your children shall die of hunger, and you shall fall through the sword. Your cities shall be broken down, and all yours shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. You, as unhappy, shall come through the sea, and receive plagues again, and in the passage they shall rush on the idol city, and shall destroy some portion of your land, and consume part of your glory, and shall return to Babel that was destroyed. And you shall be cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be unto you as fire, and shall consume you and your cities. your land and your mountains, all your woods and your fruitful trees shall they burn up with fire. Your children shall they carry away captive, and look what you have, and they shall spoil it, and mar the beauty of your face.
So before I begin, I actually want to ask everybody to take off your shoes because this is holy ground. We are reading scripture. This is for the glory of God. This is glory for Yahuwah. And if you're not willing to make this small sacrifice of sticking your feet in the cold ground, like what are you willing to do? So please take your shoes off. Woe be unto you, Babel and Ezra. Woe be unto you, Mitzrayim and Aram. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is it that he may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. And Yahweh sends the blaze, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Yahuwah shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quakes and the foundations thereof. The sea rises up with waves from the deep, and the waves are of it are troubled, and the fish thereof also before Yahuwah, and before the foundation of the earth, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returns not backward. Even so, the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be good, cheap upon earth. They that shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the death shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left till the earth, to till the earth and to sow it. The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of man, so that no man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, and in the clefts of the rocks, as an orchard of olives. Upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are some left, some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search the houses with the sword, and the earth shall be laid to waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there throughout. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no men. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed.
destroyed, and their men shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of Yahuwah. Behold the word of Yahuwah, receive it. Be not the Elohim of whom Yahuwah spoke. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. As when a woman with child in the 9th month brings forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child comes forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be sent back, be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to your battle. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that sells, let him be as he that flees away, and he that buys as one that will lose. He that occupies merchandise as he that has no profit by it, and he that builds as he that shall not dwell therein, and he that sows as he shall not reap. So also he that plants the vineyard, as he that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not, as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for their sins, says Yahuwah. Like as a whore advises a right and honest, virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity. When she decks herself and shall accuse her face to face. When he comes that shall defend him, that diligently searches out every sin upon the earth. And therefore be not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. For yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. Let not the sinner say that he is not sinned, for Elohim shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which says before Yahuwah Elohim and in his glory, I have not sinned. Behold, Yahuwah knows all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, their hearts. which spoke but the word, let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heavens be made, and it was created. In his word were the stars made, and he knows the number of them. He searches the deep and the treasures thereof. He has measured the sea and what it contains. He has shut the sea in the midst of the waters. And with his word he has hinged the earth upon the waters. He spreads out the heavens like a vault upon the waters. He has founded it. In the desert has he made springs of water, and pools upon the tops of the mountains, that the floods might pour down from the high rocks to earth water the earth. He made man and put his heart in the midst of the body. He gave him breath, life, and understanding. Yea, and the rock El Shaddai, which made all things, and searches out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely he knows your inventions and what you think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin. Therefore has Yahuwah exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed before men, and your own sins shall be your accusers in that day. What will you do, or how will ye hide your sins before Elohim and his angels? Behold, Elohim himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall Elohim lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. And behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent upon unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahuwah. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahuwah. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in fire. Hear, O ye my beloved, says Yahuwah. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be not afraid,
not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift themselves up. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered with bushes, the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through. It is left undressed, and it is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith.
Let's stand up. Let's stand up and pray. Father, Yahweh, Abba, we just come before you. We thank you so much for this most amazing time, Father. A time to celebrate your Son whom you gave for us. Father, we know that your Son is the Word, and we thank you for revealing books like this back to us in this last generation, to show us the path, Father, to reveal the truth, the things that were hidden, that you specifically hid yourself, Father, and reserved for people like us in the last days that truly love your word and want to know more and more about you. Father, we love you, and we just thank you so much. May your face shine upon this congregation and all those listening, and continue to bless us and cover over us, Father, protect us and be with us and walk among us, Father, as your scriptures say. In Yahushua's mighty name, we ask all these things. Amen.